You're not the man I knew 10 years ago. It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage. Welcome to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest, the weekly podcast where movie enthusiasts, ex-movie theater projectionists, new and old friends, and family members take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this? This podcast belongs in a museum. Get your fedora on, holster your Smith & Wesson M1917 revolver, and hope there aren't any snakes in this week's review and breakdown of Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981.
Now, the creators of Jaws and Star Wars bring you
Indiana Jones,
a totally modern hero. Trust me. And a new age of adventure. From the jungles of Peru to the streets of Cairo, from the greed of the pharaohs to the wrath of God. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Rated PG.
Opens June 12th at a theater near you. Check local newspapers.
Joining me today for the first time is my brother, Berto Compton, and his wife, his lovely wife, Heather. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Popcorn Trivia. This is where we can spoil whatever we want of the stuff. So, Popcorn Trivia. Traditionally, when one of his films is about to open, this is really interesting about George Lucas. He goes on vacation the day it opens. So, when Star Wars A New Hope was about to open, he goes to Hawaii where he was joined by Steven Spielberg. And when the grosses for Lucasfilm came in and it was clear there was going to be a hit, Lucas started to relax and was able to discuss other topics with his friend. It was at this point that Spielberg confessed he always wanted to direct a James Bond film, to which Lucas replied he had a much better idea, an adventure movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark. The conversation happened while the two were making a sandcastle. After their trip, they got together and developed the script.
Like actually making a sandcastle?
I mean,
like
can you imagine
sculpted?
these, like, I guess they weren't fat at that point. I mean, I guess Steven Spielberg isn't fat, but
Right.
George Lucas has a round tummy now.
Hey,
But imagine
Georgie,
these two guys like, so Star Wars was really cool. Do you want to make a sandcastle with me and talk about Indiana Jones?
pass me that shell. I need to put that over here. Hey, Stevie, pass me the shell.
You want to make another movie? I mean, I just found that fascinating.
Georgie, let's make a tower over on this side. I have an idea for a swashbuckler. Let's do it.
So, in the film, they filmed in Tunisia, the same place where they filmed Star Wars, and nearly everyone in the cast got sick except for Steven Spielberg. And it is thought that he avoided illness by eating only food he'd brought with him, a lot of cans of SpaghettiOs. That's what they think. I mean, it was canned goods of some
Right,
kind that
nice.
he took with him, and he was the only one that didn't get sick.
Thanks, Chef Boyardee.
Yeah. So,
Feel free to send some Chef Boyardee to the popcorn.
yeah,
Train.
let's sponsor the pod. Chef Boyardee, come on. SpaghettiOs, sponsored by. This segment of Popcorn Trivia is sponsored by SpaghettiOs.
Videos.
Harrison Ford actually outran the boulder in the opening sequence. Because the scene was shot twice from 5 different angles, he had to outrun it 10 times.
Nice.
So Ford stumbled later on in the scene and was deemed to look authentic, so they left it in because at first he was outrunning it he was running too fast.
They needed to tire him off a little bit.
Do you know what the boulder was made out of?
Paper mache.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, fiberglass.
Ah.
Essentially it's that.
They didn't use a real boulder?
They didn't use a real boulder.
Spoiler.
a perfectly rounded, chiseled boulder.
We did notice in the beginning, if he had just ducked, it would have gone right over him and he would have been just fine.
But it would have blocked the exit. It would have been we're going to go back to the hole.
Oh, that's true.
The ball would have covered the hole and he wouldn't have been able to get out.
That's true.
I've thought about this.
There's a
more
lot of
than
people
once.
that joke on the internet that you could have just ducked, like
Right.
Heather
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
said,
let
or
the ball-
moved to the side.
Right, let it roll by.
But then he wouldn't have been able to get out.
He had to outrun it to escape his doom or he would have,
He would have died in there.
he would have had to stay
I guess
there.
he could have ate Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
Or what is his name?
I didn't even recognize him until you guys said that.
This was his first movie. This was his first
That's amazing.
Yeah.
like big movie.
And he had some speaking lines, and then they killed him off.
like
Spoiler.
spear through the head and the chotch.
Right.
Like he got it pretty good.
Yeah.
So speaking of the boulder, okay, on the bonus features, the sound designer Ben Burt, which we talked about earlier, said that in
Great
order to
name.
get the proper sound effects for the giant boulder, he and the sound crew tried pushing boulders down a hill. But the sounds they were getting weren't what they were looking for. Later that day, as they were leaving in a Honda Civic and coasting down a gravel embankment, Burt noticed that the sound was just what they were looking for, so he grabbed a mic and held it near one of the tires and recorded the effect.
He did a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for Star Wars.
Changing the pitch and tone
Exactly.
a little bit and making all sorts of cool sounds.
I love those stories. They're the best.
Yeah. So while we were talking about Alfred Molina, this was his first role, like we said, but his first day of filming was the tarantula scene.
No, a lot of them.
And I read that they had put all these tarantulas, and the big ones are the males, and they were just sticking on his back. And Steven's like, hey, they're not moving. They look fake, but they're real. We need them to be moving around. So the tarantula handler
Put some ladies on
put
here.
a lady one on there, and that's when they started going ape. And that's his first day. Imagine my first day.
Worst.
There's a bunch of tarantulas on your back, Alfred. Good
Oh my gosh, and there were so many.
There
were
was
like 20.
a lot.
Yes.
You still have some reason to perform, right? Some attraction to something you're interested in, and then you get excited.
Yeah. So, get this one. Producers limited the on-screen blood from gunshots, which was weird because they had a guy's head explode in the end. But they were limiting the blood during the truck chase scene, and they would use fine red dust. I don't know if you noticed that, instead of fake blood like squirting out. Unfortunately, the only red dust available for squibs was cayenne pepper,
Stop.
which caused a lot of suffering for the stunt crew while they were shooting.
Oh, it made the
Right?
pain real.
Can you believe, like,
It's awful.
they're shooting this movie and cayenne pepper in your face while you're in the hot Tunisian desert,
Cayenne
dying of dysentery. Like,
All right, let's roll that back. Let's do that one again. No more.
I'm going to have diarrhea. I can't see, and it's super hot. I'm dehydrated. It's so crazy.
Welcome to day one of shooting.
Welcome to Raiders of the Lost Ark. The instructions for the construction of the Ark are found in Exodus 25:10. The clothing that Belloc wears while acting as high priest during the ceremony at the end is found in Exodus chapter 28. So you Bible buffs, go read it, and they're trying to be close to the Bible.
Authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perform the ritual.
So I'm a graphic designer. My brother also is a graphic designer. I like design
as well.
trivia. Instead of the standard Paramount logo used between 1975 and 87, the opening logo was a version of the studio logo used in the 1940s and the 1950s, which read a Paramount picture. The only difference is that also read a Gulf plus sign Western Company. This logo was used in the sequels instead of the current logos that Paramount used later. And they had to search for, on the island, a mountain that matched the Paramount logo, so that when they faded out, it looked like the logo.
Right. The transition was good. Segues.
Yeah. So I only have 2 more trivia points. Then we're going to go into beefs, puzzles, and redemption. After its home video release in 1982, this film had the highest number of rentals per unit on the Betamax format, a record it held until Beverly Hills Cop was released for home rental in 1984. So it held the record for rentals, home rentals. And last one, but not least, the only Indiana Jones film where Indy doesn't wear a bow tie. Bum, bum, bum.
Wait.
He didn't
Did he have a
wear one?
regular tie on in the scene with the suit that I wanted?
Maybe he didn't have any tie. Now we need to go look.
Dang it.
Yeah.
All right.
So this last part of the show there's not as many trivia points, and this is my beef.
You missed the trivia point where there was
Oh.
C-3PO and...
Oh yeah. No, that's in my popcorn redemption.
okay.
All right.
Sorry.
No,
I
that's
missed it.
okay. We can talk about it now.
I'm gonna edit that out.
There you can see C-3PO and R2-D2 engraved or chiseled in the hieroglyphics. I didn't catch it this time. I've seen it before, but this time I was like engrossed in the show and I didn't notice it, but it's there.
That's so cool. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah. So I only have 2 beefs. Do you guys have any beefs with the movie? Anything you didn't like? While you're thinking, let me give you my 2 beefs. So this is kind of a silly one because I'm so in love with Harrison Ford. But there over the years all these like people talking about, Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones, but because of Magnum PI, he couldn't. And there's like a whole host of people, and I don't know if any of these are real, but I looked them all up, and these are all the names of people that are rumored to have been offered the role or talked about it, but I don't believe any of them, and that's why I kind of hate this. But Sam Elliott, Jeff Bridges, Christopher Guest, Bruce Boxleitner from Tron, Barry Bostwick, let's see, I already said Sam Elliott, Mark Harmon, Nick Mancuso, Peter Coyote, John Calvin, Michael Biehn from the Terminator series, Sam Shepard, David Hasselhoff.
Did none of these people get to see the script?
And Tom Selleck. So the only reason why it's my beef is like, I can't imagine this movie with anyone else other than Harrison Ford. Like, I can't see anyone else pulling it off.
No.
Any of those people. And I love a lot of those actors.
He has understated swagger where he can stumble a little bit. He's still the hero.
Yes.
And he starts as the hero. It's not like this hero's journey where he starts off as this lowly person. And
he's always...
And he has someone help him
Indiana
along
Jones.
the way and becomes the hero in the end. He starts as the hero. He's smart. He's got swagger, but he's also imperfect.
But he can get punched.
Right.
He can bleed. He
gets knocked down.
He always is like, well, I'm making this up as I go. Like,
Right.
He's the best.
So good at that personality, which by the way is what makes Han Solo so great.
Correct.
Because he's got this swagger, but it's not like Tom Selleck swagger. Hey, look at my big mustache, I'm awesome, and
Yeah.
check me out, I've got chest hair coming out the top of my shirt.
Right.
It's
He can
different.
also be a goofy professor and not realize how handsome he is and pull that off well.
Right.
Yeah. Not very many people, I think, can do that.
You need to write words on your
Right? That's
on your
like one of my
eyelids for
favorite
me.
parts of the movie is the love you on the eyelids.
Yes.
As a kid, I thought that was
I expect
the
to see
best.
that.
Yeah,
Got it.
every day for the next 7 days, Heather, you need to write a new message for Bert as he wakes up in bed. You
Love
just have
it.
to look over at him. Here's my new message.
Make breakfast.
I was gonna say something about bacon, but you don't eat meat anymore. So
Not right now. Yeah.
all right, so my last beef, and then if you guys have any. In order to make it match the follow-up movies in the DVD collections, the 2008 DVD cover art changed the film's title to read Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark instead of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I am glad that the title sequence shows it as Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I don't like that they changed it on the DVDs. So that's my beef. Not too many.
No.
I can't
I'm
think of
easily
other
entertained.
things.
I can't think of anything either. It was fun. It was way fun.
Yeah, it's a great film.
So
Our kids said something about the end being a little paranormal, that they were like,
oh yeah,
"Ah."
with the Well of Souls, and
Yeah.
or no, not the Well of Souls.
No,
the
the sand that turned to ghosts, that turned to angels,
Right.
that turned to devils.
the like evil, like scary.
melting faces
I don't know.
off.
I'll tell you what, though. When I was 9 years old, I remember my parents saying, "Close your eyes, Close
your eyes. Yes.
Right?
Right.
You know, that,
even when we watched it at home, like, you can't watch this part.
right. It was intense when you were a kid. I remember, you know, like peeking through your fingers and thinking,
I really thought
So
that I was going to
creepy.
get, my soul was going to burn if I looked at it.
Yeah, it was-
and Indiana Jones told me to close my eyes. I'm like, yeah, you got it. I close my eyes.
He does tell you. to
Andy,
close
tell
your
me when
eyes.
I'm ready.
Yep,
And I'll
that's
open
right.
my eyes.
right. I didn't want my face to melt like a wax
Like
creature.
a butter face, a red butter face. So gross.
With the teeth and everything. Yeah.
So gross. And that guy's reaction with his like,
It's so good.
And so our kids in the age of CGI, I think, saw that and went, huh.
Like, that wouldn't have melted my face. Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
So my popcorn puzzles. The film was originally given an R rating because of the exploding head. Mm-hmm. They didn't want the picture to be rated R, so they just added a little dusting of fire in front of his face to make it appear less
Yeah,
graphic.
A little smoke. There was some impaling and some shooting in the head, and
It's like,
there were some things.
How's this? How can they just do that? And it's
They didn't have PG-13 at that time, right? In 81, 13 wasn't an option, so it was either PG or R.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the first PG-13 movie was, it was because of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that we have PG-13 ratings.
Look at that,
Oh,
coming full
interesting.
circle here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you either had PG or R. There was no in between that was like, it's pushing it, but it's not all the way there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So here's another puzzle. I always wondered this when I was a kid. Remember when the Ark is in the crate at the when they're getting ready to put it on or they took it off the sub at the island.
And the
And
logo's burned
the
off.
logo gets burned, but there's like the mice are crawling around, and there's that mice that kind of like
Dies.
arches his head a little bit and turns around like it's like affecting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
I was
sound
wondering,
was
like-
awesome in here, by the way, at that moment.
Oh yeah, it sounded so good. I'm like, how did they make a rat or a mouse do that? It was insane.
Super trained.
Get this. The mouse that was writhing to the sound coming from the created Ark is there because this mouth was seen behaving this way and then filmed. As it later turned out, unknown to the crew, the mouse was sick with a brain tumor. That's why he was all jacked up.
That's
Oh my
actually like a
gosh.
mouse is like some guy with the camera's like, dude, check that
Yeah,
out.
we should film this weird guy over
Everyone's
here.
at lunch, but look at that mouse. Take
Poor
a video
thing's
of
got
it.
brain cancer. Jeez.
Wow.
So there's
That's
a puzzle.
traumatic.
And then the last one I've got is archaeologist Winifred Creamer. What a great name, Winifred Creamer.
Winifred Kramer.
Described Jones as the worst thing to happen to archaeology as he walks a fine line between what's an archaeologist and what's a professional looter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what, Winifred? Calm down, bro. Like,
That's awesome. Leader.
Like,
I can see it.
I mean,
but come
yes.
on, it's Indiana Jones.
But he got them to put him in museums. He wasn't selling them to the highest bidder. He
Right.
wanted to preserve them. There was even the argument that they made near the end is like, but we need to study this. It needs to be in a museum and people need to be able to experience. And we have top men.
top.
What top men? Top men.
Top man.
Right. Studying it. But that was a big fat lie because they put it in a
Correct.
box.
Correct.
But how come the box with the top secret number on it didn't melt the words on it? Is it because it wasn't
It's just fresh.
some bad
that's what I
symbol?
was thinking. It was fresh.
Give it 24 hours and it's going to burn off and then it'll ever be able to.
Maybe it's just because the Ark of the Covenant didn't want that symbol
evil-
associated with
The evil
Right.
Nazis
right from the fruits
of the devil.
of the devil.
Yeah.
Right.
I like
Anyway.
that. But is the government? Well, let's stop there.
We should.
Stop there while we're ahead. Okay. Last category of the show is popcorn redemption. I've added this because I want to add some positivity to the show and things that we really liked about the show.
Everything.
So I put in a bunch of things that it just really resonated with me, both from when I was a kid and to now. So I'll throw a bunch of them out to you, and then if you guys want to add any like things that you really liked about it, just interrupt. So we already talked about the R2D2 C3PO thing, which is really cool for me. The out of control airplane actually ran over Harrison Ford's knee, tearing a ligament in his left leg. Lucky for him, the heat had turned the rubber's tire soft, so it did not crush the bone.
Wow.
Rather than submit to Tunisian healthcare, Ford had his knee wrapped in ice and carried on.
There you
Doesn't
go.
it sound like what Indiana Jones
That
would
is
do?
Indiana Jones for sure.
He's like, just rub some dirt on this. Oh, I'll be fine.
Oh, good.
It's just so cool.
Tie my whip around it.
Yes. So the next three that I have are the sound design of this is unbelievable. And we talked about it a bunch, but the sound of the heavy lid of the Ark being slid open, Ben Burt simply recorded him moving the lid off of his cistern at home, his toilet cistern at home.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. And to achieve the sound of thousand snakes slithering, Ben Burt stuck his fingers into a cheese casserole. This was augmented by applying wet sponges to the grip tape on a skateboard. Huh. Isn't that insane?
Just rubbing a sponge across the grip tape of a skateboard.
Combined with into the casserole. The slithering. It's insane. And then let's see. This is my most favorite thing because when I was a kid, I'm like, and even I don't know, was it Nicholas or Preston was talking about the gunshot of Indiana Jones, how insanely loud it is. I always thought, I'm like, his pistol's so rad. It sounds like a giant gun, like a cannon going off.
Right.
Like everyone else is shooting at him, and all of a sudden he's like,
Right. They've got machine guns too.
and
that
his
are super
tiny pistol sounds way louder.
Yes.
This is why it sounds so loud. He selected a 30-30 Winchester rifle for the sound of Jones's pistol.
There you go. Yeah, a rifle's going to be more.
It's so rad. Like, it's just amazing.
Well, and in here, you feel the shot. You're like, crap, did
Oh,
that just hit me?
It
Did I
sounded
get
great.
shot with that too?
Yeah, if you
so
have
good.
a sound system at all, like even two speakers and a subwoofer, it's going to make
Little
the
sound bar,
experience
anything.
sound
Yeah,
way better.
For sure. You got to have something to turn it up and enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay, but not only the sound, we were really enjoying the picture as well. For
Picture
a film that was
quality.
in 1981, the way they've redone it is incredible.
It looks, I mean, I was saying that when we were talking about it, Heather and I were saying, like, this looks probably better than people who were seeing it for the
Right.
first time in the theaters
For
in
sure.
the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, 4K.
So the last sound thing that I have, and this one's really cool, it's a tie into my other favorite movie is Star Wars. So during Indiana Jones's escape from the natives in the beginning of the film, he has his pilot start the plane in the water. When the engine starts, it's the same sound used when the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive engine fails from Star Wars.
Awesome.
It's the
When it
same
sputters.
sound. Yep.
Wow.
So sound is very unique. So the last three that I have, the film has inspired or been referenced in other media, including films like Romancing the Stone, The Goonies, The Mummy,
The Goonies.
National Treasure, television shows like The X-Files, Simpsons, Robot Chicken, and video games like Pitfall, and Tomb Raider, and the Uncharted series. It's amazing how much this is proliferated into pop culture and other, stuff that's out there. It's just really cool. The last two I have is Spielberg has said that he considers it the most perfect film of the series. He never wanted to modify it or change it or anything about it. And I agree with you, Stephen. Great job.
Thanks, Steve.
And the last one that I have, and then you guys can chime in of anything that you really liked about the film, but during the scene where Indiana Jones threatens the Nazis with a Panzerfaust, I don't know what that is, you can clearly see a fly creeping into the mouth of Paul Freeman.
Right.
Did you guys see that?
We saw that.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This is so cool. Contrary to popular belief, he did not swallow it. Freeman explained in an interview years later that the fly did fly off at about the instant he uttered the word bad. But Steven Spielberg noticed it and decided it would be funny to cut out a few frames so that the fly would not be seen flying away. This made it look as though Freeman ate the fly, and he found that the edit highly amusing. Empire Magazine chose this scene as one of the most common scenes of which people press the pause button on their VCRs.
I'm sure.
Wait, was that a fly?
I think that guy just ate a fly.
He didn't even flinch.
And we saw it too. We noticed it too.
Yeah.
So those are everything that I really just love about this movie that,
There are two scenes that are some of my favorite. I remember the very first time I saw it in that massive Cinedome theater is when he comes in the very first 10 minutes of the movie, when he comes, he's running and all of the natives are chasing him and he crests over the hill there and you see the dust coming off his jacket with the sun that's backlit, right? And the dust is going and he is running as fast as he can over that hill and it keeps panning wider and wider and you see that he's really somewhere amazing and that just that they thought he just came from this place, he's been rolling around in the dirt, he's going to be dusty.
It's very cool.
That dust. And then another one they go really wide is when all of the workers are digging in what was Tunisia in Egypt, right?
Cairo.
Right. And they've got all the holes and the wood and it goes wider and wider and you see how big the scene is. All of that for what, a minute? Maybe not even a minute. I'm sure they reused a lot of that because they shot in that area so much.
Real extras, no like fake, digital characters.
So many.
They're digging and pouring dust and dirt and it. I don't know. Just feel they're walking along and arguing. You don't even see any of that unless you think to see all that. I just love those two really wide scenes where you see location. And I don't know. Those make the epic to me when I was a kid.
It was, it's very cool. Heather, anything else you want to add?
I was thinking he was going to say the scene kind of at sunset where you see Indiana Jones. I love that. I love how you just see his silhouette. And they even show that in the movie, kind of.
Just his shadow.
And he puts his hat on.
Yes.
And you can totally see
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now I'm back in character.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
love
when he
that.
walks into the bar.
Yeah,
where
and you just see a shadow,
you
and
see
she
the
knows
shadow,
exactly.
and she knows exactly who it is, right?
Yeah.
It's so iconic.
So amazing.
And the very first opening scene, we don't even see his face for a while. We just
No.
see the back of him.
Right.
You see the whip on the side. You see his hat, and he's like everyone's he's commanding their attention. It's really cool.
And then he comes out of the shadow into the light, right? As it's coming through the trees, and it's just his face there. And I haven't seen it in a long time, and you have such a big screen. I was like, man, he's a handsome dude. I need to grow my stubble out a little bit and get a little scruffy again. It was nice. I've had a very large beard, but this one sitting next to me isn't a fan necessarily of my
Unfortunately, my wife also hates the facial hair.
homeless man beard.
Maybe if I subliminally have her watch all the Harrison Ford movies with his stubble, maybe over time she'll be like, maybe you should grow a 3 or 4 day old beard.
We need to find some movies with big, full beards, and they're very handsome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't
we-
think it exists really.
Maybe I
The
need to
stubble, absolutely,
do
but
some-
the big full beards, no, sorry.
maybe I need to do more sit-ups.
Which I don't know. Do you have an Instagram? You need to send a picture.
Yes.
You need to put a picture of the two of you together
With our beards.
with your
will.
beards.
I
Well,
will.
even without your beards, these are.
When this airs, I will, as an Easter egg, I'll put that out there.
I love
Well, the
when
last
we have our
thing,
beards, you can't tell us apart.
it. It's kind
That's
of
true.
as
We do
much.
look
You're a
lot
little
alike.
little more handsome, but
I mean, let's be honest.
to be honest,
I am
and you're I hate to admit this too, but your mustache and beard are like 7 times more spectacular than
But I love how you've always told me that you are more evolved than me.
That's true.
I have still dragging my knuckles because
right.
I'm so hairy.
I'm less hairy. I can
Yeah.
grow a beard, but I do not have hair on my next to my fingernails. On my knuckles.
I think we've gotten off the rails.
You might want to put something at the beginning of this to say warning. We talk a lot and it goes a little off the rail.
Well, my last thing is I got to give my rating. You're welcome to give a rating. I don't know if you have a rating scale, but mine is for sure a golden bucket. I have to give it the highest marks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It deserves it.
Okay.
I give it 1 golden idol.
1 golden idol.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
What if it's
Or 8 golden idols?
8 golden idols. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any parting thoughts?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is really
thanks
fun.
for coming.
We-
It's been awesome.
We're not as cool as you, but this has been fun to pontificate a little bit about all sorts of things.
I appreciate it. Hit me up on the Twitters or the Instas if you want to interact with the great Popcorn Priest at Popcorn Priest. I respond to every tweet, post, comment, hashtag, and whatever else there is. Let us know if there's something you'd like us to review. Also, if you've enjoyed this or any of our previous episodes, please subscribe so you can get notifications on our newest episodes. I love movies and would love it if you'd share the love. Muchas gracias. Another way to share the love is sharing those dollars. I've created a Patreon account, like I mentioned before. If you'd liked anything up until this point and want to support the show so we can continue to bring you these entertaining reviews, please do so at patreon.com/popcornpriest. As always, thanks for listening. And thanks to my guests,
Yes.
brother and sister-in-law Heather. We love you. Thanks for joining us.
We got to serve as the altar boys today to the Popcorn Priest.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure. Join us next week for another review on Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest.